Hi everyone, and welcome to our second episode of Spoonie Space. Today's topic is going to be date or dish. I'm going to explain to you first of all what a spoonie is, because maybe you are thinking Spoonie Space, what does that mean? A spoonie is a person with an invisible illness or chronic illness, chronic pain, something that affects them in their daily life. And Spoonie is derived from the spoon theory, which is written by Christine Miserandino. Google it if you want to know more about it. Our community is a community for chronically ill people to come together, patient to patient, and support each other, get information of each other. And our community is called Spoonies For Life. We have a website, we have a Facebook page, we have a closed support group on Facebook. We have a forum, and now also we have this weekly web-based show called Spoonie Space. So again, welcome. I want to tell you that on the page where you are right now, or the Spoonies For Life Spoonie Space page, underneath this video, you can see a big orange button that says something like "Get me the Spoonie product discount now." Every week we have another featured product that you can buy at a discount out of our Spoonies For Life web shop. This week it's a t-shirt where it's a warning, a low spoon warning, so you can click the button, check it out. A new window will open, so this you can just click it during the show, and the video will keep playing, and you can have a look at that. Below that orange button is another orange button. If you want to stay updated, please sign up to our email list, and we will send you show updates, what we're talking about, and maybe have some extra promotions that are only for our Spoonie Space viewers. So that's what you can get if you sign up to our newsletter. Well, let me introduce myself. My name is Natalie. I'm 33. I'm a spoonie because I have fibromyalgia and I have Hashimoto's disease. My most debilitating symptom is my chronic fatigue. I'm really tired a lot of the time. I have to sleep a lot, have to take naps, and I get a lot of headaches. There's a whole list which I'm not going to go into now. On our topic today, date or dish, a dish is your significant other. A dish comes from the nursery rhyme where they say, "And the spoon ran away with the dish." That's our jargon that we use in our community. So my dish is living with me, and for a year. I've been married before, divorced, and now I'm in a relationship. We can go into the details later. I would like to introduce my fellow Spoonie panelists. And I will start with Lois. Please introduce yourself, Lois.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lois. I am a 41-year-old mom of 2 grown boys and a wife of a retired veteran. And I am a spoonie because I have fibromyalgia, gastroparesis, rheumatoid disease, and too many other things. My most debilitating symptom right now is probably fatigue and fibro fog, which is why I keep saying and keep having to think for a second. So bear with me every time I talk. I am married. I have been married for, we're going to be celebrating our 22nd anniversary next week. And I became a spoonie about 3 years ago. So it's been a little rough. We've made the transition and now we're doing good. We'll get more into detail of that later. So now I will go ahead and introduce Dina.
Hello, I'm Dina. I am almost 37. My birthday's in a few days. And I have Ehlers-Danlos, hypermobile, and mast cell activation syndrome, and a whole slew of other things, severe asthma. My most debilitating symptoms would be the fact that I dislocate a lot and have a lot of pain and have to avoid people wearing a lot of fragrance, or I can go into anaphylaxis. I am twice divorced. A lot of my current past undiagnosed stuff had to do with that. And I am currently, I have a dish. We're dating, or long distance dish. So get into that later. But I will hand it off to Vanessa.
Hi, I'm Vanessa. I am, hold on, where's my notes? Okay, I'm a Spoonie because I have fibromyalgia, chronic migraines, really bad lower back problems that aren't diagnosed at this point. My most debilitating thing, I think, would probably be the fatigue and the chronic pain. Being in pain all the time is really exhausting. I'm 35 and I am actually in the process of going through a divorce. I've been separated for 6 years. Not long after I became unable to work is when I found out that I was going to be a single mom. So that is a very long story. I guess something positive is that I get to be on my own. I don't have to deal with anybody else's stuff except for my kids. So I'm pretty happily single at this point. I will hand it over to, I guess, who we have. Mark. Mark is left, so here's Mark.
Hi, I'm Mark. I'm a 32-year-old Spoonie. What makes me a Spoonie is I primarily have fibromyalgia, chronic pain disorder, and pain being the most debilitating factor in that, along with fibrophobia. I kind of messed up those words a little bit, and then fatigue comes with that. I've been married now almost 11 years, coming up here in October, and I've been a Spoonie almost that entire time. My wife met me when I was fully fit in the Navy, and we'll get into the details of how that transitioned later. And I will, say that one of the great positives is that you have a good support system always there at home when you have a good dish. And so I'll bring that back to Natalie.
Thank you so much. Well, we've started the conversation early. I'm just going to look at my other screen because on the Spoonies For Life main Facebook page, we have posted date or dish, meaning are you single, dating, married, or divorced, and what are the positives or negatives that come with your relationship status. Let me just read a couple of things because we have like 50 comments, so we're not going to be able to, handle all of them. But I'm just going to pick out a couple and then we'll go into our stories and answer some questions if there are any questions. If you have any questions or if you just want to give advice or share your story during the show, here below, all the way down on this page, there's a comment section. So scroll all the way down and you can leave a comment on this page, and then we'll get to that later and we can discuss your story or answer your question. Well, Alicia says she's married and it's a huge positive for her because her worst pain symptom was awful lower back pain that made her old job impossible. And now her husband was supportive about her quitting her job, and he also encourages her to rest when she should instead of making her feel more guilty. So that sounds really good and like a very supportive husband. So yay for that. Let's see. Shay is also married. The positives are she has a house, children, stability, and health insurance, but the negatives are the guilt. Let's talk about the guilt for a moment. Who has something to say about the guilt? Lois, I see you nodding your head, please.
Ah, yes, the guilt. Man, that's a tough one because I think, when you become a Spoonie, the biggest thing is you're so upset and frustrated because your life and your dreams and everything that you were going to accomplish with this wonderful physical body is gone. Well, guess what? It's not just gone for me, it's also gone for my wonderful husband. And so I felt like I caused him to lose his dreams. But that's not the truth, because we started this marriage together because we loved each other, for better or worse. And so I really had to work at seeing that he is here to stay. He is here with me. And even though it's hard for him, he's still here. So I don't have to feel guilty about him losing his dreams. Instead, it's we lost our dreams, but now we're creating new ones and different ones that can fit within a Spoonie life. Like, let's see, we had big dreams of traveling all over the world and hiking and biking and, all the stuff that, of course, my physical body can't do anymore. But now instead, we went and got a wheelchair, and we go on walks all around our neighborhood, and we have talks about pretend adventures that we're on and pretend things we're doing. And I mean, it may be silly and you might think it's silly, but once we're out there and in it, it's beautiful and it's romantic, and it's a connection. It's great. And so I encourage you to find ways to get past that guilt, because that guilt will rob you of a beautiful life. I guess that's all I have to say about that. Does anyone else have anything to add on guilt? Okay, Mark.
Yeah, I do have to say, I suffer from that guilt, of not, it's, hard when, you could do things and you feel like you should be able to do certain things, and then you can't, and it is very hard for you to not feel guilty about that, and so then you worry like how that's affecting your dish at the same time, and how guilt that might transpose onto them. And so it's something I battle with all the time, is trying not to feel guilty, and I'm not good at it. I feel guilty a lot, I'll be honest, but it's something I am working on. So Natalie.
Well, I myself am in a fairly new relationship. We've been living together for a year now. Um, I have to say, in the last relationship, I've been married and together for 8 years with the father of my daughter. I didn't really experience the guilt so much because yeah, with being pregnant, my health slowly deteriorated, and I was kind of like, well, I'm carrying your child, so it's not all my fault. So I didn't really have the guilt. But now that I have a child and a set life, and my new dish really needs to live my life, and I cannot be flexible and give him some of the things that he needs, now I feel the guilt more than in my previous relationship. So. Yeah, but I try not to let it get to me, and we just still do fun stuff. Like Lois said, just enjoy the moment. Mark, I'm gonna give you the lead because I hear a lot of crying coming from the other room. So
No.
can you go to the Facebook page, because I see that Daniela says she's divorced. The positives for her are, I don't have the guilt associated with not being able to be a good enough wife, but the negatives are that she's lonely. She has no one to help with the kids when she's having a bad flare-up. I don't know, Vanessa, do you have anything to say about being single with kids?
Oh, wow. Where did I go? I don't even know where to start with that. I think there's a different level of guilt, really, with having kids and being a single Spoonie. Mostly, I mean, adding on top of even thinking about dating, I mean, with Spoonie issues, you have to worry about dating with kids as well, and how that plays into the factor. I actually, after my separation, it took me 3 years to really get back into where I felt comfortable dating again, and that kind of ended pretty disastrously. And I ended up, the guy that I was dating, it was just a few months, was stealing some of my pain meds out of my purse. So I ended up breaking up with him, and that's when I discovered that I was pregnant with his daughter. So I've been a single mom through that whole thing. He's not even in the picture at all. So I basically decided that I was better off without having a partner, even though it's really, really hard, and there's times where I wish, oh, I wish that I had somebody that could help me out. Chasing 3 kids is kind of nuts. But for me, at this point, and the way that my relationships, the way they've gone through my entire life, really, I think that it would probably take Prince Charming on a white horse, like coming out of the blue, and even, I mean, it would take some convincing still to even let him in right now. So I I don't know. I guess I don't know what else to say. Is there anybody else that has something on that?
Dina, you said you were divorced. What do you have to add about being a Spoonie and going through divorces?
I hope I didn't cut you off, Mark. I'm having some trouble with sound right now, so. Okay, good. Yeah. After my last divorce, my ex, both of my exes got upset with, there shouldn't be little ears here. Well, there are little ears here, so inability to engage in sex, and because of chronic pain and knees dislocating, and if your knees are dislocating, you're not going to be able to engage in those activities. And I'm sorry, but it just angers me when a partner is all pushy for that, and I'm like, my knee's dislocated. Why can't you understand this? See the big swollen joint here? I'm in a lot of pain here, see? And the second one made comments about when I was going through, it was starting to get a little more understood, and I'd go to physical therapy and get better, and then not get better again because something would happen. And with DDS, if something happens and you wind up being inactive for a while, you decondition, and deconditioning is bad. So then I'd wind up back in PT, and that person was like, you just always want to be at the doctor. And it caused issues. So after that was all done, I was in the same point as Vanessa was. No, go away. I'm staying single. Because y'all suck. Y'all just suck. My EDS is not curable. It is genetic. You cannot fix my collagen. You can't take pills to make the collagen better. The collagen is malformed. You take collagen pills to try to make it better. The body is just going to make more malformed collagen. It won't help. It is what it is. But then I reconnected with somebody from my high school and college days that we always were like this on the wanting date, but it never quite connected. And he always knew. He was there before my knee surgery. He was there when I couldn't walk. Go upstairs and my leg would just dislocate. And then I would have to have friends, on each shoulder hobbling me up to go get the crutches from the nurse's office because we didn't know what was wrong with me. Once again, not walking. And she never judged me. He was the only person in my life who was awesome and was like, well, why would I judge you for that? There's just something wrong with your body. That sucks. So let's get you what you need. And he's still that way. And time has just made him better. And now I'm like, we've both gotten better with age, and clearly it was meant to be for us not to connect then because we both had lessons to learn. And he's coming out for this weekend, and we'll see. Am I going to jump into anything? HE double hockey sticks, no. Because... And he keeps pushing against that. He's like, that's not the kind of man I am. And I get that. I see that. But I've got two divorces behind me, so yeah. But I'm coming around. Back to you.
That gives me hope, at least. I know that much. Does he have a brother?
Yes, he does, actually. It design stuff, so I don't know how much free time he has.
Well, I missed a little part there, but the end sounded really good, Dina. I'm gonna go back to the comments. Karen says, I've been divorced, had several relationships, but broke up recently because he just doesn't get the chronic pain issue. And he wanted me to get rid of my pets and pay him more attention. Well, that's not gonna work when you have chronic pain. Melissa says she's single, not dating. She doesn't have the patience to deal with nonsense anymore. I need to tell you, after my divorce, I felt the same. I'm like, it's just going to be me and my daughter. I'm going to put all my energy in myself and in no one else and in building my business, and no man's going to distract me. So yeah, I moved countries, by the way. So I took my daughter and moved countries and built up this new life. And I was just building a new social life, trying to get to know people, to have people to, first of all, help me out with my daughter when I was needed, because I don't have any family here. I don't have any friends here. So I really had to start from scratch. And in the meantime, I set up this Facebook page, because that's kind of what I do. I make Facebook pages, like the Spoonies For Life one. So I made a Facebook page called Singles Lanzarote to connect all the singles, expat singles or immigrant singles on the island. Not necessarily for dating, but just for hanging out together. And through organizing things via that page and via that group, I met my best friend here on the island, who's also a Spoonie, so that's very nice to have. And yeah, and I met my dish, and we didn't even date. We just connected from the first time ever that I saw him. And after a week, he was in my house every day. And after a month, he just registered and never left, took his dog. And yeah, we're living together now for a year, so it's worked out. It was really hard in the beginning because you can tell someone, well, I'm ill. And they're like, well, you look fine, we're out here talking, we're having fun. And we were meeting like at 10 o'clock at night just to have a drink, but I normally don't do that. And he didn't see that I was sleeping all day. My daughter was on play dates. I was sleeping all day, so I could go out from 10 to 12, which normally I don't leave the house at that hour. But, a new boy, you will do stuff. So, so yeah. When he slowly realized the impact that my chronic illness has on my life, it was really tough. He was like, well, I liked you better the first 2 weeks. I'm like, yeah, that's because I lied to you. I didn't show you me. You got my, I'm fine, my mask, I'm ill, but I'm okay. He's like, well, it didn't sound so serious when you were talking to me. I tried to keep it positive, but it really sucks, actually. But yeah. So that took about, I think, 4 months. That was really, really hard. because I was also not seeing any doctors, not taking any medication, because I just moved country. I didn't have health insurance here yet, so I had to set up everything. He was like, well, you're so ill and you're not doing anything. Like, I've had 20 years of tests. I can take a break, you know? So now that I'm all registered and we've been to the doctor last February, I started going to doctors here and appointments, and he comes with me to every single appointment. And yeah, he feels like I'm working on getting healthy, even if that's not gonna work, you know. He needs to see that I'm trying to fix it, and then, well, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but at least I'm trying. I'm not giving up and just saying, well, that's the way it is. I'm just gonna be like this forever. So that really helped us in our journey, and yeah, it's really calming down. We have some spits and spats once in a while because he's a very active person. He likes to go out all the time and do stuff. And you know, sometimes he says, well, I go out and I feel like I'm single. Well, I'm not, because I really want to share this with you. So yeah, sometimes that's difficult, but we're finding our way. I'm really surprised at myself that I'm like living with someone with his dog and my child. It's kind of a situation I never thought would happen, but I'm really happy. And the positives is that he can help me. He can come with me to the doctor. He's an emotional support. The negative is he's a real guy. He's messy, so there's more stuff to clean. So in the end, it takes just as much energy as being by myself, but it's just more fun. So yeah, for now, I'm really happy with how this has developed. Yeah, and that was my story. I don't know if Kathy has already shared her story. Kathy, would you like to share your dish story with us? Are you there? I can't see the screen, so I'm not really sure if Kathy's there. So in the meantime, I'm just going to go back to the comments because we have plenty to go through. Let's see. Rebecca says she's married to a very supportive husband and her kids are overall very helpful. Negative is no one understands it when she's depressed. Yeah, that's very hard too. It's very hard from the outside to see what's going on. Mark, can you relate that it's difficult for your dish to see when something's up with you?
It is very true. Sometimes because, well, we like to hide it, you know. We don't necessarily like to dwell on the pain or the fatigue or the depression. You know, sometimes, you know, it's written all over my face and I don't want it to be. And my dish is very perceptive and she's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "Nothing," because I'm trying to make it nothing. But, you know, I'm just my masks have all been broken and I'm just completely raw. You know, and it comes with a comfortability that you get when you're in a relationship as well that allows you to be that kind of comfortable. And they can really start to help you more and more once those come down. But when you really hide it, no, they can't tell. And sometimes you are all smiles forever and you know, they think you're all better, but not necessarily because you're just trying to fake it till you make it, and doesn't always work. But you know, then you kind of come crashing down, and your mask comes off, and it's a little bit of a surprise sometimes to them because you hit it so well. But it varies from time to time. Lois, what do you think about that?
You know, that's like you said about putting up the mask. I think that because we as Spoonies so badly want to have a normal life and we want our life to be as close to the normal that we can get. So we try not, for me, I try not to talk about it. I don't like to dwell on it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want my diseases to be the forefront, all in here, of my life. But the problem is, that is my life. So how, how do you find that balance? And it's hard. Some days I've got it and I'm like, I can do this, and this isn't going to be my life. This isn't going to be, it's not going to affect the brain part of me and the depression part, and I don't, you don't want to share that part of you, because honestly, depression's ugly and nasty. But the truth is, if we don't share that with our closest people, whether it's a dish, husband, child, your best friend, whoever it is that is in your group to help you, the best thing you can do is communicate and try to tell them, you know what, today is not a good day. And I don't know why, but things are getting to me today. And if you can do that, I know in our marriage, that has helped immensely, because our transition from me being a highly active ER nurse to a non-active Spoonie was, life-changing. It was, we had to completely and utterly alter our life. And so there's a lot of depression that goes with that. And if you are in a relationship of any kind, your dish also is probably going through that depression as well. And so it's equally important to share that, and it's equally important to be receptive to hearing it. So you may not like to hear when your dish says, I'm depressed because we're stuck at home every day. I don't like to hear that, because that blasts it into my face. But I have to be honest and truthful, and not get mad at that, because that's a truth, and it sucks, and it's part of this life. And so I try really hard to remember that, and we try really hard to keep that communication open. Does it mean it always? No, because that's life, and we can't always perfectly get along with people, especially when you live with someone 24/7. But I do think it's really important to share what you're feeling, even with your body. It's just really important to share that with them, because they need to know how you're feeling and how you're doing, because they can't help you, and they can't help make life better for you if you're not sharing it. And unfortunately, as Spoonies, because we want to hide it, we will hang on to it for too long until we explode on them. And then now you've got this giant fight that you're like, wait, that's not what I wanted. Crap. Ugh, now what do I do? And then you have to wait for it to calm down and get over it. So I guess that's kind of my advice in that area is communication. Try your hardest, even though you don't want to. Try your hardest to share with them, and make it better. On that note, since I see Kathy has made it with us, Kathy, why don't you go ahead and share your Spoonie dish life?
Helps if I turn the mute off. My situation is, I guess, kind of unique. I'm on marriage number 4. I've been dealing with fibromyalgia for 35 years. So it all started before I got married. And I think it contributed to the 3 divorces. My current husband is an angel, but don't tell him I said that. He's very understanding, very compassionate. He's just an angel. Sorry for the emotions. It's been a tough couple days. But I'm very blessed to have him in my life. And it is hard when you're a Spoonie and you don't know whether to date or whether to marry or what, but I couldn't see my life without him. I'm sorry. I'll turn it back over to Mark. I'm just a little too emotional right now.
Thank you, Kathy. And I too am blessed, with a very supportive, caring dish. And it is okay to be emotional. It's not, it's not very easy to find that good dish that, can make you feel that good, that, would allow you to, have such a happy emotional response. I know crying can, be that happy response because it's just such a relief to find someone who has your back. And, I'm grateful I have that as well. And, we are both very blessed and in that. Why don't we go ahead and turn this back over to Natalie so she can kind of get us back onto track.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Kathy. Well, I see in the comments that one thing we haven't discussed yet is being dating. So Bridget says, I'm young and single. I've had 3 serious boyfriends in life, but each of those relationships ended at almost exactly 6 months because it started to really sink in for them how my disease affected me. It always takes a while. You can say it and you can say it, but they don't know what it means until they've lived it with you. She says, especially because guys in their 20s are very active. And her, she has a lot of fatigue and she always needs to be near a bathroom because she has Crohn's and it keeps her from doing a lot of things. She's not unhappy about this relationship's ending though, because she doesn't want to be with someone who isn't flexible enough to meet her needs. And she has no spoons to deal with all the selfish a-holes, in her words. So thank you, Bridget, for that comment. We had a question about that as well, because Karen said, I hope someday to find an understanding man, but I'm not actively seeking. But what do you say to someone? Hi, I'm a chronic pain warrior. I'm a Spoonie for life. And Christine says, yeah, that's what I've been wondering too. She is curious that if finding another Spoonie with similar issues would be good, especially if symptoms affect them the same, because some people have similar conditions. And she doesn't want a partner that looks down on her. So the question would be, do you think it would be good to have a Spoonie partner? I'm going to give my answer first. I'm very, very happy that I don't have a Spoonie partner because I need a capable and fit and active partner that can help me. So where it's maybe really difficult for him, I'm very happy that he's not a Spoonie because I don't have it in me to support him and build my business and raise my child. So for me personally, that would be a definite no. I will go through the struggles to train him and educate him and teach him how life with me is. But for me personally, I would not want to be with a Spoonie. Dina, what's your take on that?
My current dish, I was back on OkCupid, wandering around, deciding if I was just going to do random dating, but knowing that it was just going to be random dating. I had, as I mentioned earlier, decided that I wasn't going to do much more than that because people couldn't deal. And as both of these people noticed, yeah, I have 3-foot-long braces on my legs and my shiny silver splints. Now, most people think these are cool jewelry because I'm in California. And half the time I get asked, oh, what designer is that? which is hilarious. But nobody asks that of my leg braces because there is just no way to disguise my leg braces as anything but leg braces. You're right. It's hard when you are a spoonie, and there's a lot of no second dates. But you can find the people that are there. With my friend from way back when, just because people are shallow. But I will admit, because of my EDS, yeah, I need an able-bodied partner. I need somebody who can carry things and open jars for me, because these hands don't open jars. They just don't. As Natalie said, I will deal with explaining what's wrong with my body. I will deal with training, but I would prefer to have an able-bodied partner. I just would. Thank you, Dish. He's watching. But as for, if you can find a dish that has a compatible chronic illness, great. But that may be difficult. I don't know. But that's my take. Anybody else want the mic? Anybody? Lois?
I think, let's see, in terms of should you date a dish or a spoonie or not a spoonie, that's a tough one. I think it's more important to find someone that's going to be accepting of you and all of you, whether they're a spoonie or not. If they're a spoonie, hey, that's got some benefits to it because they're definitely going to understand what the heck you're going through. The downfalls of that are going to be that when you don't have the spoons, they may not have the spoons either. So that can make life pretty tough. But it's workable. My husband, he would say he's not a spoonie. I would say he is a spoonie. He's got PTSD from being in the war, and it does create social anxieties and a couple of other issues for him. And so we kind of have become a team where my body doesn't work, but my brain works most of the time when the fog isn't taking over. But he's got the physical stuff, so when I can't physically do it. So I don't know, it's kind of a tough one. I guess my advice in that area would be find someone that just can accept you, no matter who they are. Just that's what you look for. You look for someone who can love and accept you no matter what. Does that mean that they're not going to have bad days? No. They're going to have days where they're frustrated and they don't want to do this anymore. But does that mean they're done with it? No. It's just a bad day, and so you have to remember that there's just sometimes bad days. So I guess that's my advice. Does anyone else have anything they want to add on that before we go back to comments? Okay, is Natalie there?
Yes, I'm there. Can you see me?
Okay. All right, back to you.
Okay, good. Well, the other question that was hidden in the previous comment was when you date, what do you tell someone, do you tell them I'm a chronic pain warrior, I'm a Spoonie for life? Well, I will start off with that. I don't know how many of you have been dating or going out on dates. But yeah, after my divorce, well, for the first 2 years, I didn't care about anything. And then after that, I didn't want a relationship because I didn't want to share my daughter and I didn't want to share my life and I didn't want to share my house, but I did just occasionally would like to go out on a date, you know, just to find someone to sometimes go to the movies with or, you know, do, I don't know, just have a dinner. And my daughter was with her father 2 nights of the week when I was still living in Holland, so I had nothing to do in those evenings. So yeah, I went out on a couple of dates. I was not looking for anything, so you're kind of not open if you feel like that. I did make two really good friends, so that was really nice. It was like, well, that was a really nice evening, but it was not really a date. Let's just be friends, and you know that can be wrong, or you know can make you not feel happy, but for me it was perfect. So yeah, I made some friends, some new friends, and yeah, then I moved here, and like I've mentioned before, I wasn't going out on dates because I really didn't want to date. So when I met my dish, I think on the second date, I told him, listen, I don't go out at night, not only because I have a daughter, but because I'm just too tired. I go to bed early, and you know, I have this illness, and sometimes I can't do everything I want to do. But I just kind of kept it at that. And since we've moved in together so fast, he just, yeah, lived my life basically. But I don't know if anyone else has some tips on what to say if you're dating. Let's say, well, obviously you're probably not going to say too much on the first date, but let's say second or third date, what would you say about being a spoonie if it's going well? Who wants the mic? Nobody wants the mic. Vanessa. Ha 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 ha.
Hot seat. Well, gosh, it's been so long. I haven't even been on a date since before my daughter was born. Um, the guy, when I started dating again, it was a person I had known for since high school. We had just reunited, I guess, hung out with friends, but I just it's so scary. I mean, I already knew him, and he knew that I had chronic illness. I mean, he knew I was at that point on short-term disability from my job. So um, it's really hard. I just try to be honest and open up front. I mean, I don't want to waste anybody's time. If I'm going to be dating, it takes a lot of spoons to get up and get ready and find a sitter and go out and do all of that. So, I mean, if the guy's not interested in being with someone that has chronic illness, I like to be upfront. I've always been a pretty forward and honest person with people. So, I mean, I figure lay it out on the table, and that gives them a chance to head for the hills before I get attached. I don't know what else.
Thank you, Vanessa. Mark, do you have anything to add to that?
I was in the same, situation there with Vanessa. I would be open, Personally, I met my dish, and things happened very quickly as well, and we got married, and I got injured, and so she's been with me that whole time, but, in that realm, I've also been a very honest person, so, as Vanessa says, it takes a lot to get ready to do things, so why waste anybody's time by trying to be deceitful? May not be the first date that you're going out and saying, hey, by the way, my life is very limited. I do this, this, that. No, but, it's probably going to come up, just with me personally, would be in the talking, because it's so prevalent in my life that, it'd be like trying to hide, little facts about yourself, and it's just, I'd end up feeling deceitful, so. I think being honest is probably the best policy, but that's that's me as well. So why don't we go ahead and look back at the comments, Natalie?
Let's see. Sherry says the pros and cons of her relationship status as a spoonie. Her status is married. She just got married to her best friend on Valentine's Day of this year, and she would not change it for the world. She has known him for around 7 years, and he's her solid rock. If she didn't have him, she really did not know what she would do. I know Sherry's in our intro as well, and I know she carries a lot of guilt about not being the wife and mother that she wants to be. So, like we've talked about before, for those of us who have great dishes, we have the guilt that we can't be our best selves for them and yeah, give them everything they need when they are giving us basically everything we need. So that's a little sad, but it's really positive though that there's many spoonies that have a good support system out there. From all the comments that I can read is that the ones that don't have a significant other are either just happy the way they are, like Vanessa, and really just don't want to spend any more energy on someone else because it does really take energy to be with someone else, to explain your pain, to explain your moods, to explain why you're outside laughing, having fun, and from 1 second to the next, you just feel yourself crash. And, you know, there's no explanation. It just turns day into night, and you don't understand it, they don't understand it. You know, they can get upset or not, or even just be very supportive. That makes you feel guilty. It's just a difficult situation. But for dating, yeah, dating as a spoonie, it will take a lot of energy. I really liked what Vanessa said about it takes a lot of energy to get ready, to put your makeup on, to put your good clothes on, to go to wherever you're meeting this person, maybe be out at night. That was my thing, like going out at 10 o'clock. I don't do that. I go to bed at 10 o'clock. So this show is late for me. It's almost 10 o'clock now. But I think we've covered all the different ones. We've scrolled through most of the comments. Before I'm gonna wrap it up, does anyone have anything to add? Dina?
I just wanted to say the one downside I don't think we hit for being single, excuse me. I did want to say, you know, some people are single and, you know, do struggle with it because there are the downsides. For instance, after my divorce, I was single and unfortunately did not have choice of apartments to move into, so I was on a second floor apartment. Not a great place for somebody with my disability to be living, but I didn't have a choice. And wound up with a 40-pound bag of dog food that I could not get to my apartment. Thankfully, I got over myself and had a neighbor that was clearly able-bodied that parked his truck near mine and eventually got over my nerves and introduced myself to him and said, hey, I've got a dislocated shoulder because EDS. Would you mind helping me out? I've got this giant bag of dog food in my trunk and I can't get it to my apartment. It just never occurred to me because the store I bought it from always loaded it in the car for me, and I didn't think about the fact that I had dislocated shoulder. And things like that can be hard for some single spoonies. Some, like Vanessa, love it, but some have struggles like that where I suddenly found myself in a second-story apartment and was like, oh, how am I going to get my dog her food? Thankfully, the neighbor was like, oh, yeah, sure, and you've got all these other groceries. You don't need to take all those flights up. And he was great and carried my groceries, and I gave him a review. But, you know, I just thought I'd point that out, that there are some downsides for the single ones as well. Back to you.
Yes, and the one downside that I've seen in the comments is, of course, also the loneliness, because there's a lot of spoonies that cannot leave the house or never, or sometimes, like myself, I will go from being very active to being bedridden in 2 days, and I can be in bed for 1 day or 3 days or like a while ago I was in bed for a month. So, you know, if you're all by yourself, you don't have a dish. I remember living in my small apartment. My daughter was at my ex's house because I was too ill to take care of her. That particular bedridden time was 2 months. And yeah, I do remember being really lonely. Like I didn't want to have a partner, but I wanted to have someone in my house with me. And while my mom and my ex took care of my daughter, there was no one for me. So yeah, that's a very negative side of yeah, being by yourself that we didn't cover yet. But yeah, been there too, done it all. Anyway, we're already online for an hour, so I'm gonna wrap up this topic of date or dish. We're gonna be, for now, we're gonna stay online every Tuesday at the same hour. So you know when we are airing. We are airing from the same website every week, so you can just bookmark it and go back here. Also, if you miss the show live, if for whatever reason you can't be here, you can watch the show all week long until we air the new one, and then you can watch us live again. So don't forget, down here there's a big orange button and it says get my Spoonie product at a discount now. You can get 15% off on your shirt with the design that Bridget thought up for us, which I absolutely love. It's a low spoon warning t-shirt. We should all have those. There was a comment of someone saying, I just always have to have this shirt underneath one of my other shirts. So if my spoons are gone, I just take off the shirts and I'm like, low spoon warning. I thought that was really funny. Anyway, sign up for updates. Underneath the first orange button, there's a second orange button where you can sign up for our emails so you will not miss any updates or promotions or what our new show is about, or maybe when we change the airing time, you will stay updated. I want to thank all of our Spoonie panelists for joining us this today evening. It's evening for me, it's afternoon for all of you. And yeah, we will see you all next week. Thank you for watching.